Alright, what is up you guys? I'm here with the 2017 WWE DVD ranking. I have done the best and worst of 2017, but I haven't ranked every DVD. And obviously I'm going to be doing the pay-per-views separately. These are the wide-released 3-disc sets that, the ones that get all the hype, a lot of people buy, a lot of people critique. So, these are all 12 major releases of the year, so let's go through them. Last, we have, dead last, the 30 Years of Survivor Series. In my opinion, this is the only bad WWE DVD of the year. Like, the only really bad one. Which is good. Which is saying something. That's a good sign. But this one, it had your 30 moments mashed together. No interviews. No narration. Just highlights. And the match listing skipped 2003 to 2008. The entire Ruthless Aggression era. So that's just, this one really was a missed opportunity. It really, really was. So that's why I put this one dead last. It's just, if you're not going to do it right, just don't do it at all. It was just not the most entertaining DVD, and even some of the rankings were really off. I remember Undertaker's debut was really high on the list, when that should be top 5 at least. But, whatever. Next up, we have the Best of 2000s. This one is not a bad DVD, but the problem with it is it's mostly all repeats of things we already have on DVD, like pay-per-views, different Raw and Smackdown sets. We have all this. And when you have a collection like I do, I have every single pay-per-view. So it's hard to get this and sit through it when I've already seen it all. It would have been nice to have something new and fresh and matches that weren't repeats. But still, it is a great list. I love the early 2000s. Those are my favorite years in WWE. 2000 to 2007, I'd say, are my favorite years. And this has a lot of that. It's really good stuff. It's stuff we've already seen. That's the only reason I put this so high. Next up, the best pay-per-view matches of 2016. I have to give it to them. The packaging on this is fantastic. You get a slip cover, which is raised. So they really went all out for the packaging. And, very good set. And very good match listing, too. The reason I put it so high, again, is because if you have all the pay-per-views, then you have all these matches. But it is a very, very good listing of matches. And definitely a good watch. If you don't get the pay-per-views, definitely get this. This is the highlights you need. So, go for it. I think they actually went with a 9-hour runtime, too, so that's good, too. Alright, next up we have the Best of Raw and Smackdown Live 2016. This one, it transitions from your regular Raw and Smackdown to the brand split. It has Shane McMahon's return. It has Goldberg's return. It has some great matches on here. I can go over a few here. But once again, if you've seen every Raw and Smackdown, it's nothing new. It does go through January, February, March highlights. It goes through the monthly highlights. You have some different matches on here. Chris Jericho, AJ Styles, New Day versus Y2AJ. It has your Fatal 4-Way Universal title match. So this one, it's good stuff, but once again, it's nothing new, and it's nothing fresh. So, now we get into the new and fresh. Seth Rollins, Building the Architect, I'm putting next on the list. This one, out of all of these, a lot of people said the Kevin Owens DVD was too soon to release a Kevin Owens DVD. I actually disagree with that. But this one, I think, was too soon. It would have been nice to get an actual Seth Rollins documentary, but we did not get one. It's just different interview segments. And, it's a decent match listing. I'll give it that. But I just felt like this one was kind of a cash grab. Like they only did it to capitalize on his return in popularity. But overall, this is a good set. If you're a Seth Rollins fan, definitely go and get it. Check it out. 8.5-hour runtime, too. So that's always nice. Past few years, we haven't had good runtimes. So Building the Architect, good DVD. But, I just felt like it was too soon to release one without a documentary. Alright, DDP Positively Living, getting into the really good sets now. Well, good, not really good. But this one, he was just inducted in the Hall of Fame. So obviously we're going to have a DDP documentary and match compilation. It's a pretty good documentary. It goes into his early years, how he really got a late start in wrestling. And he really did. So it talks about his jobs before wrestling life. Talks about his relationship with his wife. I just watched this one, so it's fresh in my mind. Disc is actually in the Blu-ray player at the moment. And like I said, you have Disc 1, the documentary. Disc 2, you have different stories, and then you have your match listing. There's only, let me see, one WWE match against Christian at WrestleMania 18. The rest is WCW. So you have some good tag team matches on here. You have versus Macho Man, Eddie Guerrero, Kurt Hennig, Hulk Hogan. So you have Raven, Goldberg. Tag team match with Hulk Hogan versus Ric Flair and Sting. So that's a really good one as well. So overall, this DVD, it did what it had to, and it really gave you a retrospective on the life of DDP and got into some of his better matches. And this one's I believe it's a 7-hour runtime. Yep. So, this one, it's enjoyable if you're a DDP fan for sure. Obviously, it gets into DDP yoga and his later life as well. So, this one, it's good stuff. Solid release. Next up, we have the Dawn of the Attitude 3-disc set, 1997 retrospective. What this one has is a round table with Kane. It has Shawn Michaels. It has, let's see, Mick Foley, of course, The Godfather, and Ron Simmons, and Raven. Well, I believe Raven's on here. Maybe not. But I don't think Raven's on here, actually. But, we have Shawn Michaels, Mick Foley, Ron Simmons, The Godfather, and Kane. I think I got Raven from the hardcore set. Okay, 7-hour runtime. And for this one, you have that retrospective. And then you have your match listing and moments. But the actual feature itself is a roundtable discussion talking about kind of the transition from the New Generation era to the Attitude Era, which is really cool to see from the actual wrestlers' perspectives. And this one does really break kayfabe a lot if you're into that. It's close to a shoot interview, so that's nice. And then you have your different wide array of matches on here. Stuff we've already seen. You have the Owen Hart Slammy Award, acceptance speech, Hunter Hearst Helmsley and Mankind, King of the Ring, and some different great stuff from 97. And you actually have the Montreal Screwjob match on here, Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. So we're getting more releases of that, I've noticed. So great stuff. You have Jim Ross interviewing Mick Foley. But this is definitely, if you're an Attitude Era fan, obviously it's a must-own for you, because this is really the beginning of that. So, alright, so top 5 now. I'm going to put at number 5, WrestleMania Monday. This one is the WWE 24 special. It's extended with extra footage, and then it gets into the night after WrestleMania, different matches and moments. The problem with this one, a lot of people have said that it should focus on more superstars. But the reason why they did that is because these are your superstars that are focused on in the documentary itself. And then the rest is just extras with matches and stuff. So I see why they put them on the cover, but I understand your concern why it just focuses on them. But this is a 6-hour runtime, going a little short here. Could just fit it in 2 discs if you're going to do that. But really cool shot of AJ Styles there. So what we have is your feature, which is obviously your look at the WrestleMania 32 Raw. So the night after WrestleMania 32, you have the debut of Enzo and Cass. You have AJ Styles winning the #1 contenders match. And then the match listing itself, I actually really like it. We have from 95 all the way up to 2016. So you have Chris Jericho and Eddie Guerrero, European title match. NWO betrays Hulk Hogan. You have your 10-team Battle Royal from 2007, where the Hardys won. And I think this is the first time we're getting that on DVD, so that's really cool. You have the Goldberg debut, Eric Bischoff firing Stone Cold again, and The Rock challenges Cena, of course, Brock Lesnar's return, and let's see, Ric Flair's retirement speech, Ultimate Warrior's final speech, and Del Rio versus Dolph Ziggler. Very cool moment, cash in. So overall, it's not a must-have set, but it's definitely a lot of new stuff. So if you really like new content, go ahead and get this. Alright, next up is the Kurt Angle Essential Collection. This one has been long awaited, very long awaited. It's not a documentary, but it does feature a lot of his greatest matches and moments. Great packaging. You know, this is Kurt Angle at its finest right there. And this is a, let's see, 8.5 hour runtime, so that's cool. We're getting longer DVDs. So, you know, you have the gold medal discs, which is a cool little detail. And you have matches from 1999 all the way up to 2006. So we have Kurt Angle versus Shawn Stasiak, his debut, versus Val Venus, Chris Jericho, No Way Out. My personal favorite match of all time, Kurt Angle versus Shane McMahon, King of the Ring 2001. It's my favorite match. Versus Stone Cold at Unforgiven. You have a steel cage match with Edge on Smackdown. Love that rivalry. His Vengeance Triple Threat from 2002. And then his later WWE career versus Eddie Guerrero at SummerSlam. Versus John Cena, No Mercy. WrestleMania 21 match with Shawn Michaels, another one of my all-time favorites. You have the Raw Homecoming 30-minute Iron Man match. And then finally you have RVD at ECW for the title. So this is, you know, one of my personal favorites of the year. I love Kurt Angle. One of my favorites of all time. And just a very, very good WWE DVD. Alright, next up we have Fight Owens Fight, the Kevin Owens story. We have a documentary going through his beginnings to his Universal title win with a match compilation, of course. This is 3 discs, obviously, in a 7-hour runtime. You have him with the Universal title there. You have him and Chris Jericho. Opening it up, we have a, you know, it's a very good documentary. It's a little over an hour long, which isn't the longest documentary, but it is what it is. But, you know, obviously it focuses on his charisma. That's one thing that really it doubles down on. But we have his WWE tryout. It talks about his friendship with Sami Zayn. So that's really cool as well. It has his NXT, very short NXT run, his WWE debut, WrestleMania 32, and then his world title win. And then the final chapter is called The Kevin Owens Show. So obviously he has a very bright future. Disc 2, we have the special features, just different moments and stories. And then the actual match listing itself, we have his NXT Our Revolution match, CJ Parker. Kevin Owens confronts Sami Zayn, live event. And then we get into, you know, obviously it's all recent stuff, so it's very packed together, timeline-wise. But we do have some unreleased stuff, like a main event match with Dolph Ziggler, a Paris, France house show match. It's really cool. And then we have his title win. And then his WrestleMania 33 match is also on here against Chris Jericho. So, obviously, you know, ranking this number 3, it's a very good set. And Kevin Owens is always good. I mean, I actually have never met a person that doesn't like Kevin Owens. You know, he's not my all-time favorite, but definitely deserves recognition. Number 2, we have NXT From Secret to Sensation. This ranks your top 25 NXT superstars of all time. Overall, I agree with the rankings for the most part. I remember there being one that I did not agree with. But let me see if I can remember who it was here. But great artwork here. You have Nakamura and Samoa Joe there, Finn Balor. And runtime on this one, 7 hours as well. You know, very cool disc artwork here. You have the NXT, if you line them up. Alright, so, I think Cesaro was the one I disagreed with. But, spoiler alert, by the way. I mean, everyone kind of knows the list by now. But it does go over the tag teams as well. And Finn Balor was obviously number 1. And Asuka was number 2. Seth Rollins 3. I can't disagree with that. But, you know, this one really takes you behind the scenes of NXT. Just their mindsets and everything like that. And the actual match listing is very nice. Very good stuff. You have Bo Dallas and Bray Wyatt. Seth Rollins and Corey Graves. You have a non-televised from the pilot episode. Dolph Ziggler and Rusev. Big E versus Bo Dallas. Baron Corbin, Elias Sampson. Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks. We have Sami Zayn versus Nakamura. I'm glad that match was released. That was Nakamura's first match in the Dallas TakeOver pay-per-view. And then we have Asuka versus Ember Moon from August. That's the most recent match on here. Overall, if you're an NXT fan, you'll love this. I don't watch NXT religiously like a lot of fans do. But this one definitely is for any NXT fan. Trust me. And number 1, not only is this the best pay-per-view, best DVD of the year, but it's by far my favorite. I geeked out over this one. The unreleased, never-before-seen matches, 1986 to 1995. And this one is the one with the typo. This one says 85 to 96, when it's really supposed to be 86 to 95. This one has an 8.5 hour runtime. And just the artwork on this is just so cool. You have Ric Flair, Andre the Giant, Jake the Snake Roberts, my favorite old school wrestler, Macho King. You have Taker, Roddy Piper, Warrior, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels. This is an awesome DVD. It really is. You have Mr. Perfect. Oh, man. Yokozuna. I just geek out over this. I love the 90s. I love my 2 favorite decades in wrestling are the 80s and the 2000s. And even some 70s. But this one, you know, this one's just perfect DVD. I love it. You have Andre and Bobby Heenan there. Great to see. You have Big Daddy Diesel. Ted DiBiase. You have the old school WWF logo in the background there. Just so cool. And this one actually has a different material to it. It's more of like a felt cardboard, which is really nice. Like a vintage. It feels like a vintage DVD. It's really cool. Alright, so I have to get in close here to show you all this. So, all of these are never before released matches. A lot of these don't have commentaries because a lot of them are from house shows. But you have Pedro Morales versus Macho Man. Let's see. Macho Man versus Andre the Giant. Demolition, one of my favorite teams, versus Powers of Pain. Macho Man versus Warrior. Earthquake versus Paul Roma. Let's see. But this is just jam-packed. You can read all of these here. Undertaker versus Giant Gonzalez, 93. It is what it is, but still great to have unreleased. Hulk Hogan versus Earthquake. A blindfold match. Rick Martel versus Jake the Snake. Kind of a precursor to their WrestleMania 7 match. And Ric Flair versus Roddy Piper. And I believe we do get, Hulk Hogan versus Ric Flair. So there's your WrestleMania 8 match you never got. But overall, this is just a fantastic set. And this is the best, one of the best they've released in years. So go out and get this one. Must own. Number 1 best DVD of 2017. Let me know what your ranking would be. And this has been the DVD Freak. Thanks for watching. Peace out.